We've got a lot of buffs to talk about. 18 buffs in total. 18 cards are getting buffs, and I just want to. I had to pump my brakes a little bit today because I was about to come into the show. I'm like, buffs for the first time ever, and then I started seeing some conversation around the Twitter sphere and the Reddit, and I'm like, oh, that's right. We technically have seen buffs in the past, but it's been a long time, y'all. The exceptions are things like nerfs getting reverted in Wild. We've had some minor changes like tribe tags being added. This is arguably a buff. There was the Bane of Doom thing forever ago. Bane of Doom used to pull actually from a small demon pool, and then back in March of 2015, 2 days before Blackrock Mountain came out, in case you aren't aware of how long ago March 2015 was, they changed it so that Bane of Doom truly does summon a random demon from any available, possible demon that exists. So,
but you could call a buff, but you could also call a nerf because there's some really bad ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But the only thing that's like truly like a traditional, what we think of as a buff, actually happened to Unleash the Hounds, and all of these changes were in beta. Unleash the Hounds was like the StarCraft 2 bunker of Hearthstone cards. They could not figure it out, and they always made changes to Unleash the Hounds in the beta. It was originally reworked. If you didn't play in the beta or you weren't around, it used to give your board +1 and charge. That's how it used to work. Then they completely reworked it to where it summons the 1/1 doggies. Then they buffed that to where it only cost 2 mana, and then it was too good. And then they nerfed it again in the live game and to the version we have now. So that's it. That's pretty much it as far as buffs are concerned in Hearthstone. So this is crazy. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, something that the team a lot back when Ben Brode and crew were still there, kind of always pushed back against, always managed the expectations. And when I say managed expectations, I mean drug them out back and shot them by saying, we're never getting buffs. It's not going to happen. To surmise a lot of the kind of conversation around buffs were concerned. But here we are, 18 cards getting buffed. And at the end of this, we'll talk about a brand new legendary that's going to be added to the game alongside these card buffs. But this is all coming in with an in-game event that's all about Blastmaster Boom, like going what they're calling, I think, going back to the drawing board and upgrading some of his creations. So that's what we're seeing here, and they decided to buff 2 cards from every class. That's how we ended up with 18 buff cards. So let's go through them like we do with card reviews, starting with Druid and Gloop Sprayer. If you don't remember Gloop Sprayer, it's that Druid 4/4 with the battle cry that summons a copy of each adjacent minion. It is going to 7 mana down from 8.
Okay. I guess I'll be gloop spraying things. I don't know. I'm not sure if this makes it suddenly a thing, but it does open up the possibility that you can try out some other stuff with Druid. Now I can't even think of the name of the card because it's just the heal Druid thing. Never saw play, but maybe now you can do stuff with this. Lucent Bark. Thank you, chat. I need with that. But yeah, because, like making more Lucent Barks and everything. It could be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Could be. Isn't there like a bit? Oh, I guess it's probably just Wild. I was thinking like anything that's like big Druid, right? Anytime when you've got big guys and maybe having more big guys would be a good thing.
Yeah.
I just think like just that little bit less mana. And I mean, even like you could innervate it and have it be 6, like a 6 mana 4/4 that gives me 2 additional minions. Like, seems good, man.
Yeah, it's been seeing play in those weird Lucent Bark decks, but that's about it. And they are kind of popular. Like, I was surprised because I heard people talking about it, and I haven't really been giving that archetype and the time of day. So I went over to HS Replay and was like looking at games played, and there's a surprising amount of people playing this kind of heal Druid Lucent Bark deck. But yeah, I'm skeptical. It's 1 mana down.
I find it crazy that there's that many games because I've only really seen the token Druids. Whenever I queue into a Druid, it's just token.
Well, when I say there's a lot of games, like I have it open right now. The most popular token Druid right now, this is one type of deck, has 1 million games logged in the last 30 days. 1 million. The next Token Druid deck down, which I think is like a 1-card difference, has 67,000 games played. But if I scroll down to find like the first Lucent Bark deck, it has 23,000 games played.
Oh, okay. So
And
it's
this one is running Gloop Sprayer.
popular, air quotes.
Yeah. So this one is running Gloop Sprayer, but 23,000, that's decent compared to some other niche, whatever you want to say, decks. I say niche.
You're wrong.
That's okay.
Supposed
You
to be
don't know how to
niche,
say
but
sorry.
In America, we just do
Yeah, you guys make up your own rules in
We
America.
change it all. Yeah, we change it like regionally. People say different.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
It's the
Jocelyn.
same. Yeah.
So, Mulch Muncher is next for Druid. This is the 8/8 with Rush that costs 1 less for each friendly treant that died this game. It's also mech. It's going to cost 9 mana, down from 10. This is in
This thing destroyed me in the stupid adventure.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It was-
Oh, that's
it
right.
was
That was
that-
that treant. Never mind. Sorry.
Heroic, yeah, with all the treants, summon the treants as your hero power, and then it was like Mulch Muncher, Mulch Muncher. I was like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah, that was a callback and a half. But yeah, this is Mulch Muncher currently sees some play in a Token Druid variant. Definitely not the most popular Token Druid, but it's in there. But it's also like it's not really like the most important card even in those variants. So this is another one I'm kind of looking at like Loop Sprayer, like, oh, yeah, that's good. I don't know if I'm gonna rush to start playing this card.
You could do these things kind of together, which would be interesting, right? You could run there might be a way to run that treant token thing again, where you convert all your treants into 5/5s, and then also you have Mulch Munchers in there, and then you can like Mulch Muncher, Gloop Sprayer your Mulch Munchers. Like you can make this kind of thing happen, right?
Munch your gloop or gloop your munch,
You can gloop your
Loop
munch.
your munch.
Yeah.
or are you spraying your mulch?
Like what? Like imagine the turn where you play 2 Mulch Munchers and then you Gloop Sprayer between them, and you get 3 rushing 8/8, or I guess you'd get
4,
five,
Right.
4.
because it gives you.
Oh yeah, it would give
two
you,
copies,
you
so
get
you
4 of
play
them and a 4/4. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a pretty strong
yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
A pretty strong turn. I don't know. Maybe it could happen.
Thanks to Hearthstone, all of the words that just left our mouth were technically the English language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These names are silly. But yeah, I don't know. It's a thing I would like to mess around with now, right?
Yeah. The next card, as we move into Hunter, that's getting buffed is Necro Mechanic. This is a 3/6 that reads your Death Rattles trigger twice. It's 4 mana down from 5. I would like to share a story that illustrates how little Necro Mechanic has ever come up in the conversation of Hearthstone. There are a lot of card names in this game that are not actual words. And when I am typing up the show notes, I see little red squigglies underneath them and then eventually add them to the dictionary so that when they come up over and over again, I never see the card. Necromechanic came up as a typo today. It has never been added to my dictionary because it has never come up in a show.
Yeah, I think we talked about it potentially being powerful. I think when we were doing like card reviews and stuff, but it just never quite made it, right? And
Yeah.
there is, I think, a potential now for the value generation style mech hunter again, which we saw for a little while with like the 9 lives and all that. And at 4 mana, like its body is fine now. Before you were paying for a weak body for 5 mana. Now you're basically getting a good body for 4 mana and a bonus and an upside, right? So I think maybe we go back to that style of mech hunter. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, my only hesitation with this is that Hunter is already really good, and there's multiple versions of Hunter.
Yeah, it has to be better than the aggro one, right?
Yeah.
Right, and 9 lives has already kind of fallen off. In it kind of got the cut, I think, from a lot of the more popular Hunter lists. So,
I have been seeing quite a lot of hunters like playing a lot of the goblin bombs too, though. So I mean, if you pair goblin bombs with this guy, like, man, that's a lot of damage.
that's true. That's very true. Because, well, I'd have to put because I'm usually getting that off the back of a missile launcher with the poisonous magnetic on it. That's still a lot of mana for that combo. And the Necro Mechanic would have to
but I mean,
survive.
like, this isn't a legendary. Like, I mean, you throw this out and then you got a bunch of goblin bombs on the board and you're just like, all right, well, each one of these little dudes that are fairly cheap to summon now do 4 damage to your face.
Yeah. It's. I guess if you can just pop a couple, then it's very, very much worth it. But in terms of trying to actually get off like a combo, it would still be pretty difficult to pull off. But
it is like you said, it's still a 3/6, right, for 4. So it's not it's not a bad card in and of itself now.
Yeah,
it's not asking a lot of you, right, to just plop it down on 4 and then
exactly.
Yeah, and if
you
like
can get it off with some other of your death rattles, then yeah.
Like imagine if you do that whole galvanizer into replicating menace like curve, and then if you don't have a war gear on 4, you drop this guy, you make a trade, and you got a full board, right? Full board of 1/1s to work with.
Yeah.
There's applications. I think.
There's stuff here. Yeah.
It's just, is it worth a card slot in that deck? We don't know yet. It's definitely now a question though. I'm going to mess with it and we'll see.
Well, and that's the kind of thing that I want out of like nerfs and buffs is that I want them to create interesting deck building questions. It's like, does this go in? Does this fit? Let me try it, as opposed to just like, this is bad, this is good, let's go.
Yeah, it's like when the 30 cards that go in your deck are obvious.
Yeah.
There's no like skill involved in the deck building process, right? And so you want to make things all kind of in line with each other where it's like, I choose this one, you choose that one. Mine works better, and then you feel like you did something cool.
And that's what's interesting about the specialist format, right? Is it has it has deck building as a portion of it.
Yeah.
But
I would like to see more cards in specialists. That way I can completely flop archetypes, right? Because that would be sweet, right? What if I'm like the aggro mech hunter, and then I realize like I'm up against a deck that has a really good, like a warrior, control warrior, and then I swap and I start playing, the 2/2s that spawn 7/7s and the Galvatron and
I think that's what it should have been.
That would be sweet, right?
Yeah, it should have had like probably like 10 cards, maybe enough to, because I think that's what would be way more interesting is if you had an archetype that you had to start with. So your primary deck was one thing, but then your other 2 decks could be totally different archetypes.
They felt like different
with
decks.
A class core, and they felt like different decks and they played differently. Then that's where the interest comes in, I think. 5 cards.
3 cards into 18 cards getting buffed and a legendary still to talk about. So remind me on the next episode to mention why I kind of like specialists the way it is.
Okay. We should. I mean, at some point,
I'll remind you because I love telling you you're wrong. So.
Well, we haven't really drilled down on it since it started being played in the Grandmaster, but we haven't seen a lot of Grandmaster yet. We were like, what?
It was only one weekend, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's about to get a lot more interesting once these nerfs and buffs hit. I mean,
All
just
right,
the
cards
nerfs.
that could come out of this deck. By the way, someone was asking, what would you take out? I think the Swamp Ooze doesn't necessarily need to be there anymore if Rogue is getting.
Shit, you're right. Yeah,
and
okay.
Warrior, right? Because the Ooze is in there for Warrior tech too, and if Warriors aren't going to be as prevalent because Rogue isn't as prevalent,
well,
then
but in Warriors right now, what are you hitting? You're hitting
the wrench thing.
The Bomb Warrior, the wrench.
The Bomb Warrior, has the wrench, and some of them have the Collider too.
That has only been recently put in just because of the mages, but to be honest, I don't care about oozing either one of those if I'm playing this deck. I just care about murdering your face, right? Like if you're wrench calibering and putting bombs in my deck, I'm okay with it. What I really want is I really want to bounce back stuff in Rogue with the waggle pick, right? But also you could take out one of the unleashes probably and throw in a couple necro mechanics. I think that might work out pretty well. Yeah,
especially like you don't need the unleash if you are getting the mechanic off on the replicator, right? Because then you're just going to have the 6/11s anyways. Like your unleash is never going to be better than that.
I'm never going to have less stuff than you, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My last comment is just passing. Baron Rivendare would like a word. That's it. That's all. It's class specific. It's fine, but it did come to mind. Anyways, Flark's Boom Zuka is getting buffed as well, going from 8 mana down to 7. This is the Hunter Legendary that summons 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions, then die.
This card still sucks.
I still don't think I'm going to play this ever, but...
No one's going to play this ever.
Still think this is a bad card, but I'm glad it's getting buffed for when I find it in my Dalaran heists, I guess.
Sure.
Because I am taking goofy cards in that mode like crazy. But
yeah. By the way, did we mention at the top that these are all Boomsday cards?
they are all Boomsday cards.
Did we say that though? I don't know if we did. Basically, they're buffing the Boomsday set.
Yeah. Boomsday Project.
And they will still, all these cards will rotate with the Boomsday rotation.
Yes.
So.
Yep, they're all gonna go.
And these are permanent too. These are not like gonna go away at the end of the event or anything. They're permanent. So
my one point there is I'm like you should put an asterisk there. Like, what if one of these changes turns out to be busted and you have to like nerf or unbuff one of these cards?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, like future nerfs and buffs notwithstanding, like these changes as of right now are permanent. Like they're not going, because the event itself is like what, June 3rd to July something. So this isn't only for that event. They are now part of the Boomsday set in this buffed form.
Yes. On to the next cards. We're into Mage now. Unexpected Results is getting buffed. It's going from 4 mana down to 3. This was the epic spell that summons 2 random 2-cost minions and is improved by spell damage.
Yeah, this might actually see play.
This is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, there's a miracle like Vexcrow Mage thing that some people are playing. It just gets farmed by Warrior, so doesn't see that much play, but now, it runs like the elemental evocation spell to like make your elemental cheaper, and then it can play that Cosmic Anomaly for 2. So like on turn 5, you could play the Cosmic Anomaly for 2 and this, and that's a pretty strong turn, right? I mean,
yeah, and even if Warrior sticks around, Rogue's probably going to drop off, and that might be enough because the bad matchup against Warrior was clearly not enough to stop the Rogues. But if Rogue falls off and opens up the way for this Mage archetype, yeah.
Yeah, like the mage that was doing the Giants thing is good against the Warrior, but the other mages were awful against the Warrior, right? They like do a bunch of these things, make big boards with Vexcrow, and then burn you out with like fireballs and stuff. Now, I think this deck might be really cool, actually. I don't know. It was just missing a couple things, and it just flamed out too fast, right? So
I think even if you get into a situation where you have to just play this without any spell damage, 3 mana for 2-cost minions is not as crazy, right? Like
you're actually getting a deal.
You're getting a deal. Exactly. It's not the same as, before where it was 4 mana. It's just like, well, why wouldn't I just play 2 mana minions that I get to choose?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this now as just on its own is Unexpected Results isn't as bad now and is, I think, just straight up playable without spell damage.
By the way, it's discoverable in Magic Trick now as well. So a card that's just other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so that buffs Magic Trick, which I've been seeing a lot of because it's in that first deck for the Dalaran heist.
Yeah.
And I have, wait, it's not golden in there. Damn. I have a golden version of Magic Trick. They should make it golden in my Dalaran heist run because I want to see the stupid thumb move. But are you ready for Luna's Pocket Galaxy? Because it went from 7 mana down to 5 to change the cost of the minions in your deck to 1.
I feel like this is huge. Am I like way off?
2.
Probably.
It just like it seems to be like that's just crazy that like turn 5. I mean, I guess if I'm doing it on turn 5, I'm not doing anything else. So I have to have a pretty good start to the game to make this just playable on 5. But it just seems so.
You can't build a big mage deck around this because it's a 1 of legendary, right? So it's not the same as like say Big Druid or something like that where you have multiple ways to make these things possible. Like you have one way to make this some sort of combo possible. If you could tutor this out somehow, then yeah. But mostly what I think this does is that that Giants mage deck that makes a bunch of random mage spells now doesn't get a bunch of 7-cost Luna's Pocket Galleries and maybe can play them at 5 at some point in a game. That's where it's going to actually impact, I think, what we like the games that we play. I don't think this is suddenly going to be a Luna's Pocket Galaxy deck. But
I just know like people were trying to make it work when it was 7 and it was close, or at least it felt like it was close. It felt like it was borderline viable. So I feel like if they were making it work at 2 mana more expensive, like this might be.
It was never working, was it?
It was close. It was close.
Was it? I never saw it.
I remember what you're talking about. The only thing is that my memory of it is that our time trying to get it to work feels shorter than maybe your making
Yeah,
it
I
sound.
think people tried for like a second and then gave up pretty quick, right?
I think I have a golden one of these too. So I was
Like what do you build? Like what is in this Luna's Pocket Galaxy deck?
Oh God, I don't
Obviously, like Archmage Antonidas, right? Like that's like the biggest payoff I can see is being able to play that for one.
And then pairing it with.
But yeah, like mage minions themselves are like kind of crappy. So it's, I don't know.
Well, now we have Caligos, which is fantastic.
Yeah, dragons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, but that costs 10 and is fine at. I don't know. Making that cost 1, I guess, is it's crazy. But
I want this alongside a bunch of new mage dragons, so we can try Dragon Mage.
So a lot of things have to happen, but that's I mean, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting, but I still don't think it's gonna do. It's like Flark's Boomzuka to me. I'm like, okay, sure.
Well, see, I don't think it's that bad.
No, yeah,
it's not that. It's better than that, but I mean, it's also
Flark's
like two things that don't exist in the meta. Like one could be better than the other, but they still both don't exist in the meta.
Timestamp this and throw it in my face when Flark's ends up being somehow amazing. But Flark's is just a bad card. Like that is just a bad card. I don't want to do that. I don't care how cheap it is.
This actually has a good effect. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if I'm playing a mage, I'd rather be making a bunch of giants or shooting you in the face or that kind of thing rather than making my minions cost 1. So I don't know. We'll see.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm more on your side of the fence, Joss. I'm looking at this being like, there's just something about it that seems scary to me. But let's talk about Paladin.
It's a big change. 2 mana is a big change.
Yeah. But let's talk about Paladin.
Is it the biggest?
I think I thought there was one. There's one more. Yeah. Okay. One of the Warlock cards is down by 2 as well.
That shows you how bad it was. They were like, we need to make it 2 mana cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of these card changes are just mana adjustments until we get to Thunderhead, which we'll talk about when we get to Shaman. And then both warrior cards were body changes.
Body changes, yeah.
Yeah, body. They've been going to the gym. Paladin, though, Crystology is going to 1 mana, down from 2. I shouldn't have to read this card for audio listeners, but just in case, it's the dry 2, 1 attack minions from your deck. But this card is already seeing play, and it's getting buffed. And that's, frankly, kind of cool.
Well, okay, so the deck that plays Crystology, the Mech Paladin, is the most popular thing that plays Crystology right now. I know Kibler's been playing a lot of it. It's hovers around a 50% win rate. So it's not like it's terrible or whatever. Not like this is going to make that totally busted, I think. Or, sorry, I mean, it's OP already. Like, this is going to be completely busted. But it does concern me a little bit because tutoring out things like Skaterbot and Glowtron and then magneticking them to a bunch of like stuff could potentially be, this could be like a legit top tier contender type deck now. Not to mention, I think that deck also runs the next card that we're going to talk about too.
I'm pretty sure it does.
It does. Actually, I'm looking at it right now.
Mech Pally just in general is a fairly decent deck, and then now 2 cards in it are getting buffed. Like,
yeah, literally. Okay, so I'm looking at it now. It already has a 52% win rate.
The most popular Mech Paladin right now, at least on HS Replay, has a 54% win rate. It's not running Crystology though.
Really?
But it probably will, since it's 1 freaking mana. This is such a good draw spell.
So I've seen Kibler running these, and like the thing is that you turn like Skaterbot into essentially like removal, right? Because you can like instantly flip boards by playing it, and then when you buff it with Glowstone, what is it called? Glowstone Technician, suddenly you're putting 3/3 on something and giving it rush for 1 mana, right? So you tutored out your Skaterbot, and then you buff it with your Glowstone, and then you just can flip the board and put tons of stats into play really, really quick. So I don't know. I think I'm a little scared of Mech Paladin after these changes. But also,
it's kind of, I mean,
Paladin's is like kind of missing right now. So
that's the thing. Like Paladin, yes, is missing right now, because I know, like, we were talking about Priest and Paladin a few weeks ago. We got a question from a listener asking what we thought, had kind of been left out by the rotation by this expansion, and those were our 2 picks for, we're not seeing a lot of it. But we saw so much Paladin in the Year of the Raven. I was kind of okay with no Paladin right now. Like until the next expansion, like sure.
But it was also odd and even, which I was just like, I just felt like I just saw so much odd and even in general.
Well, I was sick of odd and even anyway, but
they have to pay for their button properly now, and that's fine. Like I don't really like the whole idea of like that deck was good for a while, so that now we can never have that class again. I would like to see all classes represented all the time.
And that's fine. I just we've had a lot of Paladin. It's been good for a while. Like let the other classes have their day.
I get it. It's I'm with both of you, right? Like I don't get.
There's always going to be a best and a worst, right? So. Even if the closer they get, there's still going to be a best and a worst. And really and truly, there aren't that many that are really way far off. Like win rate wise, we're still looking at a difference of, like a few percentage points here and there. So it's just that there's a best and a worst. And right now, Paladin is worst. And
if you're going to bring back mechs, though, you have to bring back mech Paladin, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the class mech Paladin and mech hunter. These are the mech classes.
Just give them shielded mini-bot back. I'm gonna bang that drum until I'm dead.
Mech mage was the original mech class, by the way.
Mech mage was the original just kill me now deck. Hated that deck. I almost got so unlucky.
I love that deck.
Oh man, it was.
I just didn't like mech warper. That's the only thing. Like galvanizer is I think a much healthier way to do this thing. You give it a weaker body. You like make it permanent, so it's like future turns can be whatever. It's not like, oh, I must kill that. Although now you have magnetic, so you must kill that. But
I miss old school GVG mid-range paladin. That's what I miss.
You just miss like playing the best cards on curve.
Yeah, man.
That could be
pre-secret paladin. I just wanna put mustard on my battle and deploy shield bots. It's wonderful.
Okay.
So
I'm really looking forward to trying out this mech paladin because I've seen Kibler playing it. It looks pretty damn powerful, but it's also Kibler playing it, and he's like the master of the memes. And now it might just not be a meme, and it might just be a thing because it is kind of a mid range, but it sits back for a little bit and then it moves in. But being able to like Crystology on one as your turn one play, that's sick. Right? Like on turn one, I do something that matters a lot.
Right. If you just have so many ways to ensure that you have low mana cost things to do because you could just start your game with one attack minions in your deck, or you could use Crystology to draw them.
By the way, you get these one attack minions, then and Galvanizer is one of them. Galvanizer is super important. Bronze Gatekeeper is one of them. Skaterbot, Glowtron, like these are actually like really good cards for this deck, right? So it's like you're like putting, it's almost like the hunting or the raiding party thing or whatever. You're like putting synergistic cards together. You're drawing them and you're now having cards that work really well together. Seems good.
On turn one, you could Crystology. Turn two, you could Skaterbot and then Magnetic the Glowtron on top of it and have a rushing 2/4. Seems good.
Or you could Galvanizer on turn two and put a Glowtron on it, and
oh god,
and a Skaterbot if you already had that, they'd be free.
Gross.
And then you turn on Avril Lavigne and ascend to Valhalla. Congratulations.
You're just way ahead at that point.
Yep.
Miles ahead at that point.
Yep. I'm keeping my eye on it. Let's move into Priest, where Extra Arms is getting a buff. If you had to talk about, this is a card that I was just like, I remember only because the name is funny and I like the art, but it's getting a buff. It went from 3 mana. It's going from 3 mana down to 2 mana. If you don't remember Extra Arms, it's give a minion +2/+2. Add more arms to your hand that gives +2/+2. So it's like
it's
a proto
good card.
Yeah, it's like a proto twin spell.
Yeah, it's it's a twin spell before twin spell was a thing. But you play
Hipster spell.
Northshire Cleric on 1, buffer on 2. You got a 3/5 on 2.
That
then
draws
on 3,
cards.
buffer again.
Yeah. This seems good now.
You make the cleric that never dies. The Extra Arms was seeing play in Inner Fire Divine Spirit style Priest for a little while.
It was like
okay in that deck.
It was in
but that deck
like,
just wasn't very good.
Yeah, but it was also like in variants of it, wasn't it? Because I was playing that deck for a little while and I wasn't running Extra Arms. Not that I am the end all be all of every player ever,
there
but
were versions that were just because it's it's just another way to like buff minions, try to make them stick, or buff minions, allowing them, because essentially then when you divine spirit, you're like double buffing, you're like double dipping this buff, right? So, and there just wasn't a lot of buff options out there. That's really the reason. Like if there was still Velen's Chosen or something like that, you wouldn't play this. But Velen's Chosen was not available, so you played Extra Arms because it was. And now it's like I think a deck or a card you can just play in just like any type of board focused priest deck, because it's just like here's a buff and then it has value too. It's like tempo plus value. That's good.
Do we know? I mean, I assume that both mana costs were discounted in this buff, but
that
more
would be very
arms.
strange if it gave you a 3 mana.
3 mana more arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw it confirmed, but I don't have a source.
Okay. Yeah. I know I've seen the question asked, but I hadn't seen a clarification yet.
If it's 2 mana and then more arms is still 3 mana, that's dumb.
That was so stupid. Yeah.
Although kind of hilarious.
I mean, technically, it would cost you 5 mana instead of 6 mana to do both. Yeah, it's still a buff, but yeah, I would expect more arms would also be.
It's actually funny though if you think about it. Now this is a Blessing of Kings stuttered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
they can be split over 2 minions or split over turns, and
you can do it on one turn if you want, and it's literally a Blessing of Kings.
Which I think is just straight up better because you could put it on more than one minion.
By the way, also, it's cool. This works really well now with Wild Pyromancer. So you might see this, because it's a fairly cheap spell now. You might see this in Nomi Priest. Because Wild Pyromancer clears is basically the way Nomi Priest doesn't die, right? So Pyro this, deal 1 to the board, then your Pyro is buffed, and you could keep using it.
Keep that Pyro around, yeah. Plus, since it's split over 2 spells, that's 2 Pyro activations.
It's 2 activations if you want.
Yeah. Is it enough to take the fight to Hunter and Mage?
Sure. I think so.
Okay. Well, then Nobi Priest has a chance. Cloning device.
I mean, it's definitely a buff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cloning device is the other priest card that got buffed. It's going from 2 mana down to 1. This was the spell that discovers a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck.
It's probably still bad, but whatever.
Not for your milkshake.
No, but I mean, actually, at 2 mana, this card did not make it into my milkshake deck. At 1 mana, I guess I have to look at it again. But
it's 1 mana to milkshake, Dills. I mean, what lower barrier of entry?
1 mana, like grab a card and get some information at the same time, right? So. Yeah, still probably not good enough for standard though. Right now, there's nobody really playing decks that do this.
In the background, I just want little subtext under this note. Chameleos is going to 0 mana because it wouldn't matter.
There's no random spell generation anymore in Priest, right? Because they lost Lyra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe that is the case.
Ever find this? I don't think either.
Yeah. In Wild, I guess.
Maybe.
When you get your cloning device off of Lyra. Let's talk about Rogue, which is just weird, especially when you think about the nerfs that are coming tomorrow. Pogo Hopper going down to 1 mana from 2. This is your 1/1 with a battle cry that gains +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you played this game. It's also a mech.
That's true. Yeah, they buffed the Rogue mech. Probably still bad, but maybe. I don't know. The problem with Pogo Hopper wasn't that it cost 2 mana. The problem was you have to make a bunch of Pogo Hoppers in your deck and then draw them.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was the generation. Yeah.
Yeah, that problem still exists in Pogo Hopper.
Boy, it's a good thing Rogue doesn't have Crystology.
That's true, yeah. Tutoring them out.
Although then it would gain... Well, then that's on the battle cry. No, never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it is... Having cheaper Rogue anythings is always better, right? Because of combo potential, so... Maybe.
Yeah, but you don't play Pogo Hopper to activate combos. You play it to play more Pogo Hoppers, right? So I don't know. I am going to be here. Pogo Hopper deck still sucks ass. Right.
Doesn't the guy that shuffles copies into your deck, doesn't he require a combo activation?
The 2 mana 3/2?
Maybe.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not that I know. Then there's the Togwaggle's Heist
scheme.
or Togwaggle's scheme. That's just a 1 mana shuffle them. I don't think there's any combo requirements for shuffling.
No, there's no combo requirements for the scheme. No.
No. But
Pogo Hopper, I really want Pogo Hopper to be a deck. They just have adorable little hopping animation sound things, and I kind of it's a Jade-like mechanic, and I liked the Jade mechanic, so
but the Jade mechanic has multiple cards that do the Jade mechanic. This is like 2 cards in your deck that do this, and you need to make more of them. Then you need to draw them.
Yeah.
It's asking way more of you than what the Jade thing is doing. Because the Jade thing is like, at the same time that you're building Jades, you're also making a 3/6 with taunt, or you're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're doing other stuff.
Doing something else too, yeah.
Yeah. So all you people in chat who are saying, "Oh my God, Pogo Hopper is going to be so good," all right, come see me after these changes, and let's 1v1 with your Pogo Hopper deck.
Right, but it's still worth bringing up because we can't play Jade in Standard, so.
Sure.
It doesn't matter how good Jade is because you can't freaking do it. So, I don't know. I think Pogo Hopper's fun as hell, so I am glad that this change is being made, but I don't think it's like standard playable immediately. Like maybe we have 2 more expansions this year before we need to worry about this set going to the not the Hall of Fame, but just going to Wild. So who knows?
It would be cool if Pogo Hopper was a viable rogue deck. I would love to see that. Because it is. It's like a deck that you have to do a lot of stuff and get there. And the opponent can kind of play back at that by being like, "Hey, I got to murder you before we get there.
Yeah,
I'm kind of on a clock here." And that, while it was maybe frustrating at first, like Jade at the end didn't really bother me because it was like, okay, I understand what's happening here, and I understand what I must do to combat it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rogue also isn't going to generate 1 million armor like Druid was, so it's not going to bother me, right? It's like it's going to be a fair deck no matter what. It'd be sweet if it was actually out there.
Yeah. Anyways, Violet Haze is the other rogue card that got buffed. It's going down to 2 mana from 3. This is the spell that adds 2 random Death Rattle cards to your hand.
Can still be 0 mana with prep.
You can still prep it, yeah. Probably still bad.
Yeah.
I want cards that I chose to put in my deck most of the time.
This is where I'm completely in your camp, Jocelyn, of, well, Rogue was just oppressive. I don't give a crap if their buffed cards still aren't particularly great. If you haven't heard us rave about Away, we like them not just because they're just really high quality luggage. It's surprisingly lightweight for how rugged it is, and it just glides like it's on freaking air. I love all of that, but both of their carry-ons, the carry-on and the bigger carry-on, have internal batteries for charging. So if you're burning your devices dead because you're playing, well, the Dalaran heist so much, cool. Your luggage that you're traveling with can now charge your phone for you, can now charge your tablet for you.
Not to mention you can take it out, which is something that Dills blew my mind with the last time we did this read. Is that you don't have to plug.
You didn't know that?
Wall. No.
What? What? Okay, yeah. Because
someone didn't read their instructions when they got there.
No, someone definitely did not.
They also have TSA-approved combination lock and interior pressure system, so you can push the air out and fit even more stuff in your bag. Free shipping within the 48 lower states, 100-day return policy, and a lifetime warranty. On top of all this, you can get $20 off a suitcase when you go to awaytravel.com/TAC20 and use the promo code TAC20 during checkout. We thank them for their support, and we thank you for using that URL and code. Let's thank our other sponsor for today's episode, Harry's. It's been sponsoring our show for what seems like ever now, because if I'm not mistaken, Harry's was our first ever sponsor and is still sponsoring the show. So you should go to harrys.com/TAC right now. If for no other reason, then Harry's is the reason you don't have to look at my disgusting neck beard if you ever watch the video version of the Angry Chicken. And that's
mine too.
Oh, I just assumed it was because you're blonde. I can't see it. You know.
Oh no, it's all Harry's.
I love their shave gel. I really like the way it smells. I smell good after it. It's just super smooth, not irritating. And for the summer months, I really like that trimmer blade. You can redeem a trial set by going to harrys.com/TAC. It's a $13 value. Comes with everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. You get their weighted ergonomic handle, a 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip, and that trimmer blade we were just talking about. Their rich, lathering shave gel. You also get a travel blade cover, so you can take it with you. Also, Away was another sponsor today. This all just works together. Throw it in your Away luggage. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyways, go check them out. Listeners of the Angry Chicken, you can redeem your trial set over at harrys.com/TAC. Again, that's harrys.com/TAC to redeem your offer and let them know Tax sent you to help support the show. We thank them for their support. Well, thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
Can we just go straight into Shaman?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sweet. The Stormbringer. That's right. That legendary that's really pretty if you have a golden version, but you probably don't play it, is going down to 6 mana from 7. This is the legendary for Shamans that transforms your minions into random legendary minions.
I mean, this did happen just because of Hagatha.
I was going to say, yeah, well, not even just the hero Hagatha, but also I've definitely taught it to the 5/5 horror.
Oh, yeah. If you make Rain of Toads plus this. Oh.
Yeah.
But anyway, in that case, the cost reduction doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's not something I put in a deck
this-
ever.
Yeah. I doubt this makes it go into decks because you probably still, if you're going to take a bunch of minions and do something with them, you're probably still going to bloodlust them and try to kill your opponent rather than convert them into legendaries. But it'll be cheaper when you get it randomly off of Hagatha. So it'll happen.
Red. Thunderhead. This is nuts. Thunderhead is getting buffed. This is not a mana change. It's going from a 3/5 to a 3/6 body. If you haven't been playing this card, this is the Shaman minion that after you play a card with Overload, summons 2/1/1 Sparks with Rush. It's an elemental. It is a good card. It's a very good card, and it's getting buffed.
Yeah, the deck that it's in, though, doesn't have a high win rate. So I'm okay with it because if it just makes that deck maybe move from tier 2 into 1, sure. But yeah, it's going to be annoying to try to get rid of this dang thing before they make tons of rushing 1/1s. Because the play always was play this on 4 and then zap something, right? And then also get 2 1/1s and then essentially be able to deal 4 damage. I don't know. I think it's fine. It's like in line with Hunter give your minions rush, or now the 3/6 double death rattle. Like it's just kind of in line with those cards now as a 4-drop.
Yep.
But yeah, a little scary. The Shaman deck might be a real thing now because I think the version that does this is also like Murlocs plus this plus Bloodlust token generation things.
The two most popular versions of Shaman I know of that run Thunderhead is there's a popular Murloc Shaman variant that runs it, and then there's also quite a few control Shaman decks that are running it. That kind of legendary heavy. It's got the Shudderwalk in there, Shaman deck. But yeah, the Thunderhead
the thing is,
feels...
it was getting run at 3/5 with, in particularly like the Murloc deck. There isn't that much overload. There's Zaps, Lightning Bolts, and Rain of Toads. It's pretty much it, I think. So
Slip Slurper. The Murloc
right, the little 1-mana Murloc. True.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess there's a half decent number of overload cards.
But even if you get one overload off with this 3/6, that's enough value for your 4 mana, right?
Yeah.
Now you've essentially generated a 5/8 for 4, with 2 of them getting rush, 2 of that damage getting rush. So it's a good card that got a little bit better, and maybe now makes a deck that wasn't so good, but was competitive to a point, more competitive. And again, it's like opening the meta. It's like some of these are like they're not meant to make things OP. They're just meant to like make things playable.
Yeah, and it's important to try and keep the nerfs in the back of our minds while we're talking about this. Like Rogue is going to see a drop off, and that's going to open things up. And a lot of the decks we've been talking about that aren't the most popular, maybe not the best way to climb, they're right there. They're right on the cusp. And that's what seems to be the case here with Thunderhead. Same thing with stuff like Mulch Muncher. I think we're going to see a decent amount of decks kind of tip over. And I think it's Shaman. I think it's Pally. Maybe, Druid's already doing fine. So
yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on Paladin and Shaman for sure with these changes. Let's talk about Warlock. Spirit Bomb is going down to 1 mana from 2. This is that spell you probably weren't playing that deals 4 damage to a minion and your hero.
Which this kind of makes it more in line with Soulfire, right? Like 4 damage to a minion, and also, I guess Soulfire can go face. This can't go face.
A pretty
so
big
still
distinction, but the Spirit Bomb can go to your face.
Yeah.
And actually, there's no can. It does go to your face.
But yeah, so 1 mana, 4 damage with the downside.
Right. Yeah, Spirit Bomb always seemed odd to me that it just seemed objectively so much worse than Soulfire. So this
it's a decent arena card that now I guess got a little more decent because an arena like cheap removal is pretty sweet. You don't care so much about health total.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Soulfire is still going to be the version you're going to play in Zoo because you just can finish people off with it unless you can't. So maybe there's going to be a control Warlock variant at some point that just needs one more piece of removal, right?
Yeah.
But right now, probably not.
No. And also Dr. Morrigan. This is the Warlock Legendary. It's the 5/5 with the Death Rattle that reads, swap this with a minion from your deck, going from 8 mana down to 6. And I still don't think I'm playing Dr. Morrigan.
No.
By the way, there is a potential infinite combo with Dr. Morrigan, but they turned it off by capping it, where you could like swap minions in your deck over and over again with Knife Juggler and essentially infinite combo people down. But they made it so that it'll swap itself only like 4 times or whatever. So it's just like silly. It's so hard to set up in the first place. It was with the 4 mana 3/4 that activates your Death Rattles when they're played. You know what I'm talking about? The fungal thing. It's not in standard anymore.
Okay.
I'm forgetting the name as well.
Yeah. But anyway, the idea was you would get that on the board with a Knife Juggler and then make Morrigan swap with Morrigan over and over. You'd have another Morrigan. You'd create another Morrigan in your deck.
Yeah, that sounds way OP and
so it's like,
to
but
do.
yeah, so it's like that. But then this really stupid thing that if you got to happen would then go infinite, didn't go infinite because Blizzard, without telling us, put in a cap on it. So it would only swap with itself a certain number of times. It's like, did we need to do that? Essentially, this is playing Mechathune, right? Like getting infinite Knife Juggles. I would like to see that actually happen. I think that would be fun because it's such a hard setup that if you actually pull it off, like you should get rewarded by winning the game. Because that's just cool.
Chat room saying Spirit Singer Umbra.
Yes, Spirit Singer Umbra is the card up there.
The Tortolin dude.
There you go.
But yeah, it would activate its the Death Rattle when it comes in, and then it would swap with itself, and then it would do it again and again and again. Anyway.
This is when I look at this card, it just I don't know. It's something I haven't thought about in a long time. I'm just like, why can't Battle Cries trigger when I don't play it out of my hand? Because cards like this would excite me so much more.
Well, it's a Death Rattle.
They could,
right, but it's swapping with a minion from your deck. So how dope would it be if the minion it pulls triggers its Battle Cry?
Right.
Like the reason
it's what they should introduce at some point. They should introduce ETB effects that are not Battle Cries. It's a new thing where if you get it, if you summon it somehow, it does a thing. The battleground effect, right? Because those effects are super sweet in Magic when you can bounce things, and then you know it's like I play it, I get its effect. You kill it, I bounce it back from the graveyard and get its effect again. It's like that's actually really fun. And
yeah,
you feel like you're doing cool things. So I would love to see that added as a mechanic at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This kind of brings up those thoughts for me. But let's bring it home and talk about Warrior. And the Warrior is the first step is Security Rover. It's that 2/6. Well, it's that 2 was that 2/5. Was a 2/5 that whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. The Security Rover itself is also a mech. Anyways, yeah, it's going from a 2/5 up to a 2/6.
Cool. So it's going to make more 2/3s.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this, by the way, this already happens from Dr. Boom, and it rushes and it makes 2/3s. Yikes.
Yep.
You're that afraid, huh?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Why does Warrior get a buff? Because every class literally got 2 cards that got buffed. So,
but I think like the question is more so that of all the Warrior cards, why did they buff the mechs? Because mechs are so good. Yeah, mechs are so good. Well, Dr. Morgan's not a freaking mech.
No, that's true. but Warlock doesn't have a bunch of mechs, so
I don't know. It just cards. Yeah, I think that there's other Boomsday cards that could have maybe seen buffs that wouldn't have fed into Dr. Boom, who's already very powerful. And even if you don't put these in your deck because of Omega Assembly and because of the Discover a Mech hero power, like they're going to be found. They're going to be played.
So,
okay, guys, let's
Here's what they
had
could have
more
done.
than
though. They
2
could
cards
have
in it.
they could have buffed Dino-Matic, and that would have sucked more.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cards, the warrior cards that like they could have buffed from Boomsday, and I'm like, these were probably the fringe bad cards for warrior. So
I'm equally as concerned. I really have not enjoyed playing against warrior in a year. It feels like.
Or at least, like, I mean, if you're going to buff the mechs, then nerf Dr. Boom, like we were talking about when we talked about the nerfs in the nerf section. Like,
I think they just don't feel like it's a problem.
yeah.
I think Blizzard's numbers do not indicate Dr. Boom is a problem.
And I as feel like this just, it's kind of the history of Hearthstone. It seems there's typically something that feels very obvious to those of us at home that we go, Team 5, you probably shouldn't have done that. And they go, we're keeping our eye on it. And then 2 months later, it gets changed. And right now I'm looking at these mech buffs feeling very much that way. Elysiana, anyone who may be getting nerfed tomorrow? Like, we had that conversation with Elysiana, like, oh, there's going to be a problem for Standard. And hemmed and hawed. And we said the same thing about Rogue, and they hemmed and hawed, and here we are.
Yep. I don't know. I'm not super concerned about this yet, but we'll see when it actually happens. Does this super suck? I don't know. I think these cards like don't go into your deck, so the only time they still end up happening is Omega Assembly and Dr. Boom Discovery, which means they're still not happening that often, right? Like, and when they do, is the Security Rover getting 1 more health, or the Beryllium Nullifier getting 1 more attack, game winning and losing in a game where you would have, like, would you have won the game against the Warrior if the Rover was a 2/5 still? I don't know. I tend to think probably not. Like,
I'm actually wondering now if Beryllium Nullifier just goes in decks at that 4/8 stat line, because we've played 4/8 cards before for 8 mana, not 7. So
I still don't think so. 7 mana 4/8 is just still bad. You'd have to be playing a specifically like mech warrior.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to be playing like a tempo mech warrior to want this, right?
Yeah, because it's only...
So reliably can magnetic it to something.
Right, yeah, because it's only scary if you're taking advantage of the magnetic. If you're just developing a 4/8, yeah, I mean, it can't be targeted by spells or hero powers, but that's historically only been a particularly powerful effect on early drops.
It's even then, like, people weren't playing the 3/2 dragon thing.
Fairy Dragon?
Yeah, Fairy Dragon. They weren't playing that unless it was also a dragon that was activating other dragon synergies, right?
That's
like
true.
They weren't just playing it as like the untargetable thing.
Yeah. No,
And then we had Sogoth, who was like a 9 mana, which was annoying when you got it off of some random effect or something, but it was never good enough to go into a deck. I'm looking at these and I'm going, okay, I understand the concern because Dr. Boom is so good, but I'm also going, if they have to buff 2 Doomsday cards from every class, which that's what they've decided on, probably I'm glad that it's these 2 and not something like Dino-Matic, which is already definitely in the deck, right? Like, these are potentially the best options because these are actually the ones that aren't in any of the decks.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm looking at it, like Weapons Project in the deck, Omega Assembly in the deck, Eternium Rover in the deck, Dino-Matic in the deck, Dr. Boom in the deck, Super Collider in the deck. Like, what's left? These 2.
So are what we
don't buff Warrior.
Are what we landing on is that we
do the thing you said
Yeah,
you're
just
gonna do.
don't buff
Don't
Warrior.
give it to Warrior.
I think what we're landing on is we just are mad that they made us think about how much we don't like Dr. Boom.
I mean, but again, like, Dr. Boom wasn't a problem until all the other Death Knights went away, right? So
yeah. No one's talking about Zul'jin right
Rocket
now.
Boots and Boomship though are not synergistic with this event. This is an event called Rise of the Mechs. So if your class has mechs, they're buffing the mechs, right?
Yeah, but again, it's not.
Well, but that-
I mean, I get it.
If you bring that
rule
up, we're
Like, if the whole event is made up and you're making up this like logic to go along with it, like
I'm not making up the logic. Blizzard made up the logic. Blizzard called it Rise of the Mechs, and then they buffed the mechs.
But
They want the
it's
mechs
not.
to
It's
ride.
not just mechs.
yeah.
Well, no, but some classes just don't have mechs in them, so they had to buff something else.
Right, but there's your wiggle room.
The classes that did have mechs, their mechs were buffed. This is a class with mechs, so the mechs were buffed.
I disagree.
I think that's a really dumb way to go about things. Like to look at this and not look at it from a balance perspective, since these are not event specific. Like these buffs aren't going anywhere. So if you're holding yourself to some random, well, we called it Rise of the Mechs, therefore we have to. That's a terrible way to do balance.
Sure, but if you're also, I think that these buffs are from a balance perspective. These are not problem cards. Like buffing these is not like suddenly Warriors OP. What if they buff Dr. Boom? Then I'd be like, okay, I'm furious. And Dr. Boom is literally like the reason for this. So like, I'm just saying the logic is sound because like these cards are the okay ones to be buffed because they're not the ones that are already in the deck. Like the deck already includes all the other cards I listed.
And we're saying
there's more cards other than those.
Dills, what we're saying is we understand that, and we don't like arbitrary rules.
Okay. Well, I think that these are fine, and I think everyone who's concerned is going to feel okay once these happen.
And thank you, Ro. The Paladin mech cards were not buffed. They had mechs and they were not buffed.
Oh, okay. Well, they buffed the cards that around the mechs, right? Because they buffed the card that draws you the mechs.
I'm ready to move on from this conversation. So
they
we're going to talk
the
about the legendary Snip Snap.
So yeah,
who's
still solid.
We're getting a new legendary just added to the game out of nowhere. It's going to be a 3-mana 2/3 neutral mech that has magnetic, has echo, and has a death rattle that summons 2 1/1 microbots. And we're all going to get this legendary for free if we log in during the event. If we, for some reason, miss it, which I would assume if you're listening to this show, you're not going to miss the event. But if you do...
It is a month long.
It's a month long, yeah. You just don't play Hearthstone if you miss this event.
Exactly. You can craft the non-golden version for 1,600. I would assume you can craft the golden version if you really want to. Is this going to be like golden exclusive to the event?
Yeah, golden is exclusive.
I think it's only golden if you log in, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you can craft the normal one anytime for 1,600 dust. Although if you log in the event and get a golden one, why would you craft the regular one? But if you do miss the event, you can craft it.
Okay, cool. There was a lot to digest from this, so I read right over that BS. I was like, I get it for free, cool. I don't need to know the details. But there were actually some details that I did catch. By the way, it's called Snip Snap. Did I say that? I don't think I said the card's name. Anyways, Snip Snap is going to be considered as part of the Boomsday Project, and it's going to rotate with the Boomsday Project. They do want us all to understand, though, that Snip Snap is not going to drop from Boomsday Project card packs. The only way to get Snip Snap is by logging in, getting your golden, or by crafting that non-golden version yourself. So just log in. Get a free golden legendary. Also a good golden legendary.
Yeah, really good. It's like super Harvest Golem.
One that also creates an OTK on turn 5 in Priest. Have you guys seen this yet?
I have not seen that. Tell me about it, Jocelyn.
So, and I can't find the exact cards right now, but I'm sure chat room will tell me. But basically, you have the little 4/4 squirrel guy with stealth that you play on turn 4. So you have a mech ready that can attack. Then you play the priest minion that gives you the 3-mana discount on your death rattle cards or your death rattle minions. So then this is free. You can magnetic it to the squirrel dude, and then it has echo, so you can just play it over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
You can infinitely buff your Coppertail Imposter. Yeah.
Coppertail Imposter, thank you. Yeah. So you can infinitely buff him, and obviously if there is a taunt in the way, that's a problem, but you can just sit there and magnetic to your heart's content until you have a minion large enough to kill your opponent.
Well, that's silly.
Reckless Experimenter. So technically, I think it says your minions die at the end of the turn or whatever, but it doesn't matter because your opponent
dies before the end of the turn.
Your opponent is dead. So,
yeah,
all right,
okay.
Did they not think about this one?
I don't know. And also another thing, apparently, is that the dies at the end of the turn from the Reckless Experimenter doesn't actually go off because they don't count as minions in the playfield, which means that you could, like, even if there was a taunt in the way or something, then you could still have this absolutely massive minion that's not going to die because they lose that when it's magnetic.
Well, because it's actually the Coppertail Imposter will be what
exactly
the minion will be. It won't be a Snip Snap
It's not a snip snap thing. It's not the imposter minion itself didn't get buffed or discounted by the experimenter. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you could just also, if they have a taunt in the way, you could just be like, well, screw it. I'm just going to make a giant thing, hit your taunt, and say go.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, like you can also run silence. It's 0 mana. Oh, you have a taunt in the way? No, you don't.
0 mana silence. You can always
Yeah.
get through.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was on purpose. Maybe because, like, I mean, we talked about the priest cards that got buffed and they weren't necessarily all that interesting. Or
Screw that. I'm just gonna play draw a lot and kill you, priest.
yeah, exactly. This. I mean,
Hey, you know
maybe
what
it was on purpose. Maybe this OTK priest is a thing that they want to see happen. I don't know, but I mean, the internet found this combo in literally 10 minutes.
Historically, they don't like stuff like that.
Not as early as turn 5, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Coppertail Imposter, I haven't thought of you for a long time, but I worry about your future.
We don't have any ways to kill it anymore, do we? Like, you used to be able to do stuff like the 5 mana 3/3 that hurled a random bomb that did 4 damage.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's funny
You used
enough.
to have the mage spell that dealt 4 damage to a random minion. It could hit stealth things. Like, how do you kill a 4/4
I've been
stealth?
thinking about I forget that card, but I've been thinking about it lately because I keep taking the treasure in the heist that gives passive stealth constantly, permanently to everything, and that's the only thing that's killing my minions, and I get angry at it. but yeah, you're right. We don't really have, especially this early on. You know, turn 5. Like, what do you do?
Oh, Hunter can deadly shot it. There you go.
Oh,
that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So Hunter.
Yeah,
best
so Hunter
deck.
is going to be even
Oh, man.
more reasons to play Hunter.
Actually, this is it. We could have.
You might as well just concede because you're not going to get your combo off.
This whole episode could have been this 1 minute where we realized that Hunter will just be the best class to play after everything happens. Yeah. There we go. Figured it out.
The whole conversation about the last thing seems silly now when they've added this. Who cares about the warrior cards getting buffed? Priest can kill you in turn 5.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's good, y'all. I would have. I don't mind when things like this happen as long as they're addressed in a timely fashion.
Sure. This card is good whether it can OTK you on turn 5 or not, by the way. This
Yes.
card is good.
Yes. Absolutely. Also, is there like a way Priest can guarantee they even find this card? I don't think so.
No, but you can draw a lot.
It's not. Yeah, you can draw a lot as a priest, and it's not that big of an ask, right? It's free.
Like
it's 3
Pyro.
cards on turn 5. So
Yeah. Pyro, Cleric, Circle, and all that stuff. And just draw like 6 cards. Just
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to find it.
Yep. If you need,
And if it doesn't happen on exactly turn 5, like turn 6, 7, 8, 9, those are all still fine.
it's still good.
yeah,
It's still good.
You.
Hey, I'm also, you need your cleric to live a little longer. You know what helps with that? Extra arms.
extra arms.
Sure.
Yep.
Ah, that's good.
We should also mention, just because these are all changes to cards, you will get your dust refunds if you dust. Like if you disenchant your nerfed cards, you get your dust refunds, but they're not giving dust refunds for buffs because that's dumb.
That would be really silly, and I was very surprised to see people in Reddit even assuming that.